My name is Crystal, and I'm one of WikiAnswers Community Coordinators. Today, as part of the Town Hall sessions, I'm taking a question that was posted by Ralph the Flies. He wants to know, given that WikiAnswers has a worldwide membership, how is it possible to have any uniformity in dealing with posts, given that members from different cultural, racial, and religious backgrounds may exercise widely different criteria when deciding whether a question which offends their personal beliefs or upbringing should be deleted or merged? It's a great question, and it's actually something that we've been addressing for a long time on the site. As you know, the WikiAnswers community is large. It continues to grow each and every day, and we have people joining us from all regions of the world. So there's going to be a lot of different cultures, a lot of different languages spoken, and not everyone has the same sources of information. So what we try to do behind the scenes is we try to collaborate with the volunteer community and create policies and guidelines that help to guide when answering, editing, and even asking questions. Recently we implemented the new Supervisor Code of Conduct, and basically we're trying to outline best practices for all contributors regardless of where you come from and what background you have. It's a delicate balance because we really don't want to get bogged down by a lot of rules and regulations. We want it to be fun. We want as many people as possible to participate. And when all is said and done, there's still going to be judgment calls. People are prone to disagree every once in a while, and when that happens, it's really important that you reach out to a neutral third party, whether that be a supervisor or another contributor that you trust. And when in doubt, you can always get the assistance of Community Advisor by writing into communityadvisor@answers.com. And keep in mind that even though we're operating in the online world, it's very important to be nice and respect others' viewpoints. And as a final note,
Hi, I'm Matthew, and I'm a community coordinator here on WikiAnswers.com. My username is Brave3. We received this question from the contributor Medium2. If I were to say it's too easy to become a supervisor, and if someone does, they get too much power right from the start before establishing a reputation of being trusted, how would you guys respond to that? That's a good question. I would say that the quality of every prospective supervisor's contributions and their communications, both on the forums and the message boards, are evaluated individually before they're given the status and the tools of being a supervisor. You know, the process will never be perfect, but overall, I think we're getting a lot of great new supervisors coming in every week. We're also raising the age requirement to 15 years old to become a supervisor later this month. Current supervisors will not be affected by that. Our best supervisor recommendations obviously come from the other volunteer supervisors. In order to promote more of these recommendations, we plan to make it easier for someone to refer someone to be a supervisor directly from the bio pages. And in regards to your last point about getting too much power when you become a new supervisor right from the start, we'll be developing a feature whereby we can grant specific superpowers one by one rather than granting them all at once from the start. This will allow new supervisors to get their feet wet, learn at their own pace with the guidance of their mentor. And thanks a lot for your question.
Hi, I'm Gregg. My username is G. Anderton. I am the mentoring coordinator here at WikiAnswers. And this question comes from Alex. His username is Kaulia. Alex writes, some of the tasks carried out by the senior supervisors cannot be revealed to the rest of the community. Why the secrecy and confidentiality? Well, thanks, Alex, but there's no mystery, really. There's a very little difference between senior volunteer supervisor and the rest of the volunteer supervisor community. The primary difference is that the senior supervisors oversee a top-level category rather than one of its subcategories. And there's a small number of tasks and responsibilities that site administrators prefer rest with just a limited group of people for purposes of better control and supervision of certain types of actions occurring on the site. For example, senior supervisors often provide feedback on major restructurings of their top-level categories in the category tree. These senior supervisors were asked to take on this additional responsibility because of their extensive time spent improving WikiAnswers and their uncommonly high level of community involvement. This type of structure can be seen on many of the most popular community websites. I hope that answers your question. Thanks, Alex.
Hello, my name is Adam, and my username is Pasteur. I'm an Associate Community Coordinator and a member of the WikiAnswers.com Community Development Team. A WikiAnswers contributor, Ralph of the Flies, posed the following question. Is it right and efficient for some people to supervise large numbers of different categories? Surely a relatively low maximum number, which would allow more concentrated efforts to be focused on a few areas, would be much better. The answer to that question is it isn't very efficient to have one person supervising a lot of categories. That's a good point. However, since we have thousands of categories that aren't supervised at all, having a fraction of the attention of a dedicated person is better than having no attention at all. The challenge that WikiAnswers.com faces is that we have a limited amount of active supervisors with an ever-increasing number of categories. And remember, with many categories, the watch list may be quite small. That is dependent on the number of new questions and new answers we get in any specific category. With the right balance of complex categories paired with more simplistic ones, the number of categories any one supervisor can or is willing to manage may fluctuate. As always, if you want to help supervise a category, even someone is already supervising it, please ask. WikiAnswers.com always appreciates volunteers who are willing to supervise categories. Thank you for the question, Ralph of the Flies. Way to go.
Hi, my name is Suzanne, and my username is Zanbabe, and I am supposed to answer the question. I just found out that the community assistants are paid, and that some aspects of WikiAnswers is a profession in its own right. To those of us who are Wikiholics through and through, what would you say to those who may consider a future career in Answers Corporation? What tasks do the CAs carry out on the site? That's a great question. Sometimes they go through 200, 500, or 1,000 questions to see what the quality is or whether a feature has worked. They get reports of the top questions every day on the site, and they answer those questions and make sure that we have good, high-quality answers to those very popular questions. They assist groups that are too swamped. They help out with or categories that aren't supervised. They basically do anything that they're asked to on the site and help out wherever they're needed. As for advice about people who are interested in a career with Answers.com, I would encourage you to go to our website at jobs.answers.com. Think about whether you're willing to relocate if the job requires it. And if you have the skills we're looking for, you could be considered for a future position.
Chris Whitten, Chris on WikiAnswers, and I'm the founder of WikiAnswers. So the question I'm answering is, who was the first employee of FactFarm/WikiAnswers excluding Chris Whitten? And this comes from Shadoos1. I had sort of a virtual company in that I had some really good people who worked part-time for me, but they weren't what the IRS calls employees. Really key person in the beginning of WikiAnswers, actually throughout its start, is a guy named Brian Casey. He's my programming partner. His stamp is very much on the WikiAnswers that you still see today. One of the first editorial employees was a part-time guy who you still see around WikiAnswers, named Roy Forsberg. And another early person who worked with me at FactFarm was Crystal Williams, who many of you will know well. She's still very involved in the WikiAnswers community.